Yes, Maharaj, we are ready. We are live.
Hare Krishna, my dear devotees, all glories to His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Rantaraj Ki Jai. Today we're hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chapter 5, Text 25. And this verse says, Labante Brahma Nirvana Rishaya Kshina Kalmasa China Dvaidava Yatat Mana Sarvabhuta Hite Rata. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. So this is one of those very important verses explaining how one can achieve the merits, becoming meritorious, becoming qualified to go back to Godhead. So it says, those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts. Let's see, that's a very important statement. Whenever we're not fixed in Krishna consciousness, we become attacked by dualities that arise from doubts. So, like for example, should I marry this person or that person? Should I go to this college or that college? Should I live in the Western world or should I go back to India? Should I eat this or should I eat that? Those are all doubts that are caused by dualities. So a person that is not Krishna conscious will always be doubtful and be full of dualities, not knowing what is the exact right thing to do. However, if someone is Krishna conscious, then they become fixed in oneness. Oneness means whatever pleases Krishna, that's what I'm going to do. They're not acting for their own sense gratification. Now they become free of dualities. They will only do those things that are pleasing to Krishna and Guru. So this verse, text 25, chapter 5 says, those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. So, one must become beyond the dualities that arise from doubts. So, that happens when we become serious about Krishna consciousness. We no longer have any dualities. Should I do this? Should I do that? No, I should only engage in activities of Krishna consciousness. That eliminates the dualities. And then, whose minds are engaged within, that means that they're always introspective. They're always analyzing themselves to only do the right thing based on shastric evidence. So if they're invited to, let's say, a party, and in the party, the people get a birthday cake, and they offer some of the birthday cake to you. Well, you have to ask a question: who made the cake? And they say, "Oh no, we got it at Costco." Well, then you say, "Okay, but what are the ingredients?" Oh, they say, "Well, we didn't look on what the ingredients are." Well, now that is a red flag. So you can call up Costco and ask them, what are the ingredients of your so and so cake? And if they give you a list of ingredients, you'll probably find out that there's things in those. There are ingredients that we cannot take. We should never touch. It might be some egg. It might be other artificial things that no devotee should ever eat. So we should never think that, oh, it's a birthday cake. Let's not become so, picayune. Let's have fun and eat the cake. But no, oftentimes the cakes are made with eggs or other things that normally we should never eat. So we have to be very careful about what we put into our body. Just as careful of what we should put into our ears. We become contaminated easily by hearing nonsense and by eating nonsensical things that are forbidden foods and forbidden things that are being spoken. So we have to have that discrimination to understand what is permitted for eating and hearing. We never want to contaminate ourselves by ignorance. So here it says in this verse, 5th chapter, 25th verse, those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Well, the first line is very important. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts. Yeah, when you're not educated properly, you have doubts. You're not sure, should I do this or should I do that? Because you don't have enough spiritual knowledge. Therefore, we should always ask more advanced devotees, should I eat this? Should I do this? Should I do that? We should never simply follow the leader. Like, for example, let's say you go to a birthday party and the host says, oh, here's a piece of the cake from the birthday party. So you have to ask, well, who made the cake? Oh, I bought it at Costco. Really? Well, what are the ingredients? Oh, I don't know. Why are you asking so many questions? This is a birthday. Just eat the cake. No, a devotee can't do that. I mean, a devotee who's serious about not violating the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness should never eat anything that they're not absolutely sure is pure. So anything that's going to be cooked by karmis is not going to be pure. Let's just put it like that. Even though it looks good, even though it might taste very good, but you can't trust that. So we have to be very, very careful. There are 9 holes in the body, and whatever goes in those 9 holes will determine who we are. So we should never let any contaminated food into our body, or contaminated nonsensical talk in our ears, and etc. We have 9 holes. We have to protect them and not let anything in that is contaminating. The whole purpose of Krishna consciousness is to purify the body and the mind. And that can only happen if we're regularly hearing Bhagavad Gita spoken by genuine devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, and also associating with genuine devotees. In the association of genuine devotees, they're not going to violate any of the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. But if you are friends with loose devotees, and they don't see anything wrong with eating a birthday cake, even though there might be eggs in the birthday cake. So that's very, very, let's say, a no-no. We should not, you should not say, well, it's a birthday cake, let's not make a big deal about this. No, you have to make a big deal about it. We should never eat anything that is forbidden. And we should have enough intelligence to know what is edible and what is not edible. And above all, has it been offered to the Lord? Mm-hmm. So if you buy a cake made in Costco, they don't offer it to the Lord. So you might say, well, we'll offer it to the Lord. But wait a minute.
Lord can't eat.
Huh?
Lord won't eat.
What's that?
Lord can't eat one with egg, right? You can't offer to the Lord.
Yeah, you can't offer something that's been cooked by materialistic people. Yeah, of course. Okay, so text 25 again says, in the purport, only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. Now, that's a very profound statement. Only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. So, what does it mean to be fully in Krishna consciousness? That means one who's following all the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness and never become lax in chanting rounds and in regularly hearing lectures given by genuine devotees and so forth. So we have to be always engaged in activities of Krishna consciousness in the association of serious devotees, and always asking for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, so that we don't make any unnecessary mistakes. So when a person is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, well, what does it mean, the fountainhead of everything? It means that he is the summum bonum, the highest authority of everything, and the final authority also. There's no other authority equal to him or greater than him. He is the fountainhead of everything. Then, when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. Okay, so now, when we, as a devotee, who is in knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. That means that he's equally understanding the, the principles of Krishna consciousness and practicing them for the benefit of everyone. The sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. Well, this forgetfulness is necessary if someone wants to be a karmi and break the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. So, therefore, they need to forget about Krishna. And they do. They do. Because you cannot commit sinful activities unless you voluntarily forget about Krishna. But the sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer. That means that everything we do first, we should ask the question, can I offer this to Krishna? So if you cannot offer it to Krishna, then you should not do it. So we have to be very careful about what we think, what we eat, what we want to do, etc. Everything should be measured by the acceptance or the rejection of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, when a person is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. Yeah, so the Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. And when one is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then he acts in that spirit. He acts for everyone. Yeah, so he's not, let's say, he's open to helping everyone become Krishna conscious. The sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. Now, this is a very profound statement because when we are actually Krishna conscious, then we are always acting for the benefit of all living entities. However, we understand why people unnecessarily suffer. They unnecessarily suffer in life due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and supreme friend. People become so ignorant that they think that they are the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. So that is the false ego. Therefore, to act to revive this consciousness, what consciousness? The consciousness of Krishna. To revive this consciousness of Krishna within the entire human society is the highest welfare work. So if we want to do good to society, we should become a genuine devotee and regularly and every day follow the regulative principles and help people understand who Krishna is. One cannot be engaged in such first-class welfare work without being liberated in the Supreme. In other words, you have to be chanting your rounds every day, bathing regularly every day, and reading and hearing Bhagavad Gita every day. See, otherwise, you're not going to be qualified to speak about Krishna. One cannot be engaged in such first-class welfare work without being liberated in the Supreme. A Krishna conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of Krishna. He has no doubt because he is completely freed from all sins. This is the state of divine love. Well, yeah, when you give up all sinful activities, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, speculation, etc., and strictly follow the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, then one is engaged in first class welfare. One can be engaged in first class welfare work, even without being liberated even without being liberated. So a Krishna conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of Krishna. He has no doubt because he is completely freed from all sins. So if we become sinless by strictly following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, then we no longer have any doubts about Krishna or service for Krishna, etc. And Prabhupada says this is the state of divine love. That's a very important statement. This is the state of divine love. A person engaged only in ministering to the physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. Yeah, well, let's say somebody goes to the gym and works out and takes a bath afterwards, and then comes home and then eats some, food without offering it to Krishna, and is convinced that what they're doing is completely right. And they take some what you would call different things to help their health and supplements and so forth. And they think, well, this is the real life. I went to the gym, I worked out, I took my vitamins, and now I am, very healthy. But that type of health is not Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness as health is when you're completely conscious of Krishna and following Krishna's instructions. Then you are actually being purified every day by chanting and following all of Krishna's instructions. One cannot be engaged in such first-class welfare work without being liberated in the Supreme. A Krishna conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of Krishna. Okay, so that means that, a real devotee is completely surrendered to Krishna and no doubt that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has no doubt because he is completely freed from all sins. Yes. So the devotee who has given up meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, speculation, etc., using bad language, such a person is freed from all sins. This is the state of divine love for Krishna, because one has given up all bad qualities and is completely dedicated to serving the Lord with love and devotion. A person engaged only in ministering to the physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficulties in a hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Let me read that again. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficulties in a hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in the material tabernacle, even though he still has a material body, but he has full consciousness of his relationship with Krishna, and he's actually liberated in that consciousness. Okay. Are there any questions about this? Very nice verse. Chapter 5, text 25. And the verse says, those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, and who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Is it time?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Finished?
Half an hour.
What?
30 minutes time.
Yeah. Okay, my dear devotees, are there any questions anyone has? Any questions? Any questions? So our takeaway tonight is the following. A person engaged only in ministering to the physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. Temporary relief of the external body and the mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficulties in the hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord. When a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in the material tabernacle. Wow, that's like a biblical word, material tabernacle. That means that he's in a material body. So, one who's fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna is actually a liberated soul, even if he's still in the material body. Okay, so that is our main takeaway today. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
Maharaj, question, Maharaj.
Yes.
So whenever we come across these dualities, I mean, we always face this duality every day. Should we do this or do that?
Yes.
So we just take some bias and started doing one over the other. But how do we decide properly? How do we avoid these dualities? Or how do we?
Yes, that's a very good question. When you completely surrender to Krishna, you will no longer have any dualities. But as long as you have material desires, along with being Krishna conscious, you always have dualities. But if you completely surrender to Krishna, you won't have any dualities. You'll only do those things that are pleasing to Krishna. Right? Just like Prabhupada told these two brothers that were living in India, he said, never leave India. Never leave your service in India. So 40 years, 50 years, they've been serving and they've never left their service. Right? That means that they are actually Krishna conscious. They're following the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master and are completely satisfied by doing the service. They're not bored, they're not upset, they're not selfish. They're just happy because they're following the instruction given by the spiritual master. And if the spiritual master say, you stay here for the rest of your life, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Now you have no duality.
Yeah.
You know what you have to do. But someone who doesn't have the blessing of a bona fide spiritual master who can tell the devotee what to do, they're full of dualities. But if the Guru Dev says, do this rest of your life, okay, that's it. So you don't have to, there's no question of dualities then. Okay, so thank you very much, my dear devotees. Please chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When in doubt, chant Hare Krishna. That's our. When in doubt, chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I have a question, Maharaj.
Yes, please.
So, in that example which you gave, Maharaj, so the Prabhujis are completely into Krishna consciousness, so they are not, they are away from the dualities. But for us who are in the Grihastha we have to take care of our family and also concentrate on Krishna consciousness. What is your advice, Maharaj?
Well, you make sure everyone in the family is Krishna conscious. You see. Now, if obviously if you put your child in mundane school, they're going to become influenced by all kinds of nonsense things, and you won't be able to control them as they get older, because they'll be contaminated by the bad association that they're having. And whose fault is it? It's your fault because you put them into the public school or the private school where they're associating with karmis. We should not associate with karmis. We can work professionally with karmis, but we don't sit down and eat with them. We don't go to their parties. We don't do this. We don't do that. And obviously, by putting your child in a karmi school, if the child ends up developing bad habits, it's your fault. You put the child in the association of many teachers and kids who are not Krishna conscious. So we have to be very careful of how we educate our children. We should not just put them in school, materialistic schools, and think that they're going to be educated. Yeah, they're going to be educated. They're going to be educated to be karmis for sure, 100%. And it's going to be much harder for you to help your child become Krishna conscious. Maybe they'll become Krishna conscious somewhat, but it's much harder because they're associating 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day with all kinds of unholy teachers and unholy kids. So the best thing is homeschooling. Take the time to teach your own kids how to be Krishna conscious and how to be academically, let's say, serious, because they're not associating with nonsense kids and nonsense teachers. Teachers nowadays, they will teach children bad things that parents don't agree with, but they do it on purpose. Like, for example, if they think a child should change their sex, they'll do it privately without asking the parents. And all of a sudden, the child ends up changing their sex, physically, and without the parents ever being involved in what happened. This is how corrupt modern education has become. So it's just more dangerous now than ever before. So we have to be very careful to protect our children from such contamination. And the best thing is homeschooling. You get 4 or 5 families to work together to homeschool the kids. And that way the kids don't feel as if that they're alone all the time and not having any friends. So you get a group of 5 families or 3 families, and you work together to educate your children. Now you know what the curriculum is. Now you know who they're associating with, etc. You put them in school, you don't know who they're associating with. You're not really clear about what the curriculum is, and so forth. Okay, thank you very much, my dear devotees. Please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And don't put your children in public schools or private schools. You should educate them yourself. By the way, it's legal in America that you can homeschool your child. There are other places where it's not legal. In this country, it's legal. It's legal. You can homeschool your child. Or you can join with other families to homeschool the children. America's a great place for some things and a very bad place for other things. But when it comes to education, there is every opportunity to be able to educate the kids yourself. You should take that opportunity. Okay, thank you very much, my dear devotees. Please chant Hare Krishna.